I just published my first game asset, and it was far more challenging than I expected. I went through a lot of mistakes, rework, and frustration during the process. Looking back, if I had followed those 14 rules from the beginning, it would have saved me time and made the whole experience much more enjoyable. Let's start with number 1. Research the marketplace before you start modeling. People don't buy random models. They buy assets that save time and fit real production need. Most buyers are game developers, filmmakers, and artists who are ready to use your asset in their project. So build models that are broadly usable, not overly specific, and not depend on a single scene or setup. Think in terms of practical value and reuse. Bundles often performs better than a single assets. A theme pack like sci-fi guns, characters, or vehicles usually delivers more perceived value than selling just one model by itself. Also, don't rely on single marketplace. Different buyers use different platforms. Some prefer Sketchfab, some CG Trader, some Fab, and others. Publish across multiple marketplaces, so your assets are discoverable in more places. Visibility directly increases your chances of making sales. Rule number 2. Set real-world scale and dimension first. Before you begin modeling, bring a human reference mesh into your scene and size your asset against real-world proportion. Work in proper units and keep your scale accurate from the beginning. That way, when you import your model into a game engine, the proportions stay correct, not oversized and not too small. I learned this in hardware. I once finished about 99% of the asset, add animation and bones, and then tested in the game engine, only to realize the scale was wrong. Fixing it at that stage was painful, and I had to redo a large part of the work because the rigging and animation were already applied. Set your scale earlier and lock it in. It saves hours of rework later. Rule number 3. Design with functional logic, even for sci-fi assets. A common mistake in sci-fi modeling is focus only on visual appeal and ignore how the object would actually function. Because it's concept design, it's easy to overlook mechanics and usability. Even in my early gun design training, the focus was primarily on visual rather than the functional accuracy. That works for concept art, but game asset benefits from believable structure and mechanical logic. Your design doesn't need real engineering, but it should feel logically constructed. If you're building a sci-fi weapon, make sure the attachments, moving parts, and major components looks like they could operate and be rigged. Think about where parts can slide, rotate, or connect. Visually logic design makes your asset easier to rig, easier to animate, and more convincing to buyer. Rule number 4. Start low poly and control geometry early. When you're building a game asset, begin with low poly geometry and start in control of your poly count from the start. Don't oversmooth or add heavy build segments unless they are truly necessary. For smaller edges, around 4 build segments are usually enough. For larger, more visible curves, you can use higher even number counts like 8 or 12. Even segment counts makes optimization easier later. You can remove every second edge loop and reduce density without destroying the shape. Also, avoid excessive microcuts and tiny edge details. They quickly inflate geometry and hurt performance. Instead, reduce those cuts, use decal, or bake the detail into texture and normal maps. Clean based geometry makes optimization much easier at the end. Rule number 5. Delete hidden and unnecessary geometry. One of the easiest way to reduce poly count is removing geometry that will be never seen. If a surface is permanently hidden inside the mesh, behind sealed ports, or fully blocked by other components, delete it. There is no reason to keep geometry that player will never see. Make it a habit to check inside your mesh and behind intersecting ports. Cleaning hidden geometry keeps your asset lighter, more optimized, and more engine friendly without affecting visual quality. Rule number 6. Maintain clean, game-ready topology. You don't need fully quad-based geometry for every game asset. Quad topology is critical for character and any mesh that will deform or receive heavy VFX. But for hard surface assets, control n-gons are acceptable. Use n-gons where they simplify flat or static surface, but keep them clean. avoid collapsed vertices, stretch faces, and mismatched angles. The mesh should remain structurally readable and shading safe. Pay special attention to Boolean areas. Boolean operation often creates messy intersection and broken edge flow. So after a Boolean, inspect the surface and use the knife tool or manual edge redirection to route the connection along clearest path. Clean topology improves shading, bake result, and engine performance. Rule number 7. Keep your scene organized and name things properly. This might sound boring, but it makes a huge difference, both for you and for the person who buys your asset. A clean scene is easier to manage, easier to edit, and much more professional. If your objects are still named Cube 001 and Cylinder 002, that's a bad sign. Rename pods based on what they actually are, so anyone who opens the file can instantly understand the structure. Also, separate things into collection to keep the scene user-friendly. Put meshes, bones, rig controls, cutters, and helpers into their own group. For example, keep the amateur in one collection and the render mesh in another. It takes a few extra minutes, but it makes the asset feel more production ready instead of thrown together. Rule number 8. Follow the correct production order. Don't rush the pipeline. This step is critical, and I learned in the hard way. The order you follow can either save you hours or force you to redo the major part of your work. After modeling, your first job is optimization. Turn on statics and check your poly count. If it's too high, create a proper low poly version and keep both high poly and low poly meshes. Don't UV unwrap before optimization. Once you unwrap and mock seams, deleting edges or changing topology will break your UVs, and you'll have to redo them. Finish geometry cleanup first, then unwrap. After UVs are done, you can bake details if needed. Transfer high poly detail to low poly using normal maps or other baking map. You can use Blender or external tool for this. Then move to texturing, and only after that, prepare your final export. Keep this order. First, model and optimization. Second, create low poly. Third, UV unwrap. 4. Bake details if needed. 5. Apply texture. 6. Export. Stick to the pipeline. It prevents rework and keeps production predictable. Rule number 9. Create proper LODs for better performance. LOD means level of detail, and it's basically different version of the same model with different poly count. Game engines switch between them based on the camera distance. When the object is far away, the engine shows the light version, and when it's close, it shows the fully detailed version. If you only provide one heavy mesh, you're forcing the engine to render unnecessary geometry all the time, and that hurts performance. A simple way to build LODs is to duplicate your low poly model and reduce it step by step. Remove small detail, reduce bevel segment, dissolve edge loops, and simplify the curved areas. Keep the silhouette recognizable, but strip anything that won't be noticed from a distance. Rule number 10. Learn basic rigging and simple animation to increase asset value. Modeling alone can get you sales, but adding basic rigging and simple animation can significantly increase your assets value. Buyers always prefer assets that are close to ready to use. A static model is fine, but if your weapon has moving parts, a sliding mechanism, or a simple shooting animation, including that setup, it saves time for the buyers and make your product more attractive. You don't need advanced character level rigging. A simple constraint, object hierarchies, and basic keyframe animation are often enough for hot surface assets. Many artists avoid rigging and animation because they assume it's difficult. In practice, the basic are straightforward once you start. The barrier is mostly mental, not technical. The more work you remove for the buyers, the more valuable your asset becomes. Rule number 11. Apply all transform and valid pivot point placement before export. This one causes a lot of confusion. If your FBX import at the wrong size, rotation, or position inside the game engine, unapplied transforms are usually the reason. Before export, check your transform value. Rotation should be 0 and scale should be set to 1. And location, well, it's less critical, but your origin point should be placed correctly, ideally at the logical pivot point of your model. Select your mesh objects and apply rotation and scale. Do this only after your main modeling modifiers are finalized. Keep non-destructive modifiers like bevel, weighted normal, and triangulate if they are part of your final export setup. Also verify the pivot placement. If the origin is off, reset it to center or to a functional pivot point depending on how the asset should behave in game engine. For amateur, the workflow is different. Select the bone, switch to pose mode, and apply location, rotation, and scale there to normalize the rig. Clean transforms and correct pivots prevent import errors and saves a lot of troubleshooting time later. Rule number 12. Verify normals, face orientation, and mesh integrity before export. Before you export, take a minute to check your face orientation and normals. Flipped faces are a common cause of shading and texture problem in game engines. To verify this, open the viewport overlay and enable face orientation. Blue faces are correct and red faces means that normals are flipped. If you see red faces, it's easy to fix. Go to edit mode, select all the faces and then press Alt+N and choose flip face. Done. If the flipped faces are too small or too numerous to fix manually, select the entire mesh and press Shift+N to recalculate the normal automatically. This quick check prevents broken shading and missing texture later. If normals are wrong, the engine won't render the surface correctly, and it's not the engine's fault. Rule number 13. Set a root bone to control the entire model. If your asset includes a rig, always create a root bone that controls the whole structure. This gives the user a single master control to move, rotate, or place the entire asset easily inside the game or in scene. In edit mode, add a new bone at the base or center of the model, or use an existing central control bone if that makes sense. This will act as a master controller. Then parent all the other bones to this root bone, so every moving parts stay under one hierarchy. That way, the buyer doesn't have to manage multiple disconnection control just to reposition the asset. A proper root control makes your rig cleaner, easier to use, and more production ready. Rule number 14. Use the correct FBX export settings for reliable result. When you export your model as FBX, use consistent settings so your mesh, rig, and texture import correctly in game engine and other software. Set the path mode to copy and enable embed texture, so your texture files are packed with export. This prevents missing texture issues for buyers. Under limits, enable selected object only, and double check in the viewport that all required meshes and bones are selected before exporting. For object types, enable mesh and also amateur if your asset uses bones. If there is no rig, you can leave amateur disabled. You usually don't need to change the transform setting if you scaled and accessory set correctly from the start. And in the amateur export option, disable add leaf bones and enable only deform bones. This helps the skeleton clean and avoid extra helper bones being added on the import. With these settings, your FBX export clean, portable, and engine ready. By following these 14 rules, your game asset creation process will be much smoother and far less problematic. If I missed any important step, mention in the comments so others can learn from it and correct your workflow. This is my serious push into game asset production, and in future videos, I'll share more upgrades, deeper techniques, and better pipeline as I refine my process. One last thing, this won't be easy at the beginning. You'll go through tutorials, trial and errors, and plenty of rework. Don't expect it to feel quick or effortless. Knowing the upfront helps you to stay consistent when things get confused or difficult. Everyone struggles in the early stage. The difference is whether you keep going and make it work. Good luck for your game asset creation.